Today might be a good day. Today might be a day in history, the internet history, Gamergate history, that we can look back. We can look back on October 29th, 2019, and we can see that this is the start of the end of Kotaku, the start and the end of just a horribly terrible, worthless website. Because let's be fair, let's be realistic. That's what they are. They clearly don't care about the gaming community. They haven't for a long time. They do look, I want to be fair and say that Jason Schreier is just a worm. Like a total worm. But the guy does put out some good features every once in a while, and he's good at what he does. I just wish he was less of a prick. It's not that hard. It's not hard to be less of a prick. But when you look at Kotaku as a whole, when you see what's been happening as a whole with that particular website, it seems like the writing is on the wall. It really does seem like the writing is on the wall. They were recently acquired by a private equity firm, them and Deadspin. And what really started was Deadspin writers were told by the parent company to stick to sports only. No politics, nothing outside the purview of your job. This is what you are here to write about. We don't want to hear about your opinions in sports. Which you could only assume at this point would be then pushed forward with Kotaku. That Kotaku would also be told probably the same thing. We want you to talk about games. We don't want you to not talk about anything else other than that. That's what we want. We want you to do that. Now, of course, that hasn't been confirmed. That's just my speculation, but that's kind of what I feel is going on here. That's what I feel is happening. I feel that Kotaku most likely is being pushed into that corner, and they aren't happy about it. They aren't happy about it one bit, which is one of the reasons why so many people out there are looking at Kotaku as being dead in the water. Take it out back, beat it with a shovel, throw it in a ditch, cover it with petrol, light it on fire, done. Now, some of you might say, geez, man, aren't you a little harsh on Kotaku? What did Kotaku ever do to you? What did Kotaku ever do to you? Oh, man, no, I have a long memory when it comes to 2014. When it comes to the slander and libel that was put on the gaming community for simply wanting ethics in games journalism by pointing out multiple instances of poor ethics in regards to Kotaku, poor ethics in regards to the staff, poor ethics in regards to its editorial board, poor ethics across the board in regards to Kotaku. And we were the bad guys. We were the bad guys. We were always the bad guys to them. We've always been treated like the bad guys. And even today, 5 years later, Jason Schreier can't help but drop a little bit of that Gamergate. There's a little bit of that Gamergate. So while there's nothing concrete yet in regards to the internal dumpster fire that is most likely happening, we have a couple of screen caps that are really courtesy of Reset Era. Not a site that I ever want to give credit to, but in this particular case, screw it. So according to them, these are some screenshots. What we have here is Jason Schreier. He has me blocked, so I have to use these screenshots anyway. It says here, if the atrocious ads on our website are bothering you, here's how to contact Kotaku's new private equity owner management team. Then he follows it up 3 hours later by saying the article is no longer up. The staff of Kotaku did not remove it. And then brings up the GMG union as if like, oh, there's going to be a union event. Wow, we're going to take it to the mattresses, see? But then comes over here to Reset Era, where he actually did respond to somebody who says, I'm not familiar with Univision's structure, but curious if you've ever considered flying solo in the past. They seem flexible with outside work with your book. But considering your status and tenure at the company, it would be cool to see you negotiate points of Kotaku itself or percentage of click revenue for your work. And he says, I don't expect you to have a knowledge of the inner workings of journalism, but you need to understand that clicks do not equate to revenue, which is true in essence for him. Clicks don't translate to revenue for him, but they do translate to revenue for the company. Saying here, I get a salary and benefits from a company with a business department that sells ads, posts deals, and puts together other revenue generators in order to ensure that we get paid on time. But he says that are thankfully kept away from the editorial team. So what that says to me is that there's definitely a problem there because the editorial team are the ones that would have taken down that article. Now, then he goes on to deride everyone on Reset Era, saying this thread really sucks. And despite your sudden pivot to sucking up to me, I have no patience for your generic disparagement of my colleagues' hard work. You want to criticize an article or offer specific feedback? Be my guest. You want to try to get a bunch of people to dogpile on Kotaku, Gamergate style, based on absolutely nothing but gut feelings, vague nonsense about clickbait, and a threat to put us on an ad blocker? Piss off. Now, I get he's gonna defend his home turf. I get that. This is Schreier. He's gonna defend his home turf, and I do love this image here because he's kind of like that. He is. But a lot of people out there just do not like Kotaku. They haven't. They've been waiting for this for years when Hulk Hogan body slammed them back in 2016, I believe. It was great. It was great. Peter Thiel and him brought down the empire of Gawker, and this is the final boss of it, really. This is the final boss. So they go on to say here, karma's a bitch. Heather Alexander, who works there, says, I worked at Gawker, and I thought it was a pretty good thing. It's fair to say that we operate with the understanding that sports, games, or anything else exists within the context of politics and culture. It's not particularly possible to talk about these things without talking about the world they're made in and the measures that they impact. I don't necessarily believe that's true. Gaming can be apolitical for the most part. Like 98% of it's apolitical, and stuff that is political is coming from a specific small indie group of people. But yeah, this again, another one of the access media, another one of the people that are all nepotistic with one another or cronyistic with one another. But then, of course, Jason does follow up his own tweet. This is from a couple hours ago, saying, I don't know what's going to happen next, but to everyone who has read and supported our work at Kotaku over the years, thank you. That basically means he's done. That basically means that he's almost done. Or he's going to quit. A lot of people are going to quit. Totillo did say that he is trying to navigate through it right now. He's trying to navigate the whole process, trying to make it a big thing. Anyway, some more people here. A lot of blue check marks, you might notice. Messages of solidarity are heartening. Thank you. There's a lot of work yet to be done. Kotaku forever. Kotaku forever. You just want them watermelon butts. And she's a staff writer at Kotaku, soon to be former staff writer at Kotaku. Although this could be considered, don't want to disparage the company, don't want to lose your job. But she's also sitting there and saying like, oh, the messages of solidarity. So pick one, Kotaku forever or messages of solidarity. You can't have them both. Cecilia D. Anastasio, F. Press F for respects. She's a senior reporter at Kotaku, so clearly showcasing that. Let's see here. Luke Plunkett says, pretty telling how when I started in this job, I would drown in emails from people asking how to get in this line of work. Now, if I'm lucky, I get one every 6 months, and that includes tweets. So again, long-term Kotaku employee, long-term games media person realizes that the job is terrible. Maddie Myers here says, extremely effed up day. And she's a managing editor at Kotaku. I think it all kind of speaks for itself at this point. I think it all relatively speaks for itself. What we're seeing here is the crumbling of Rome. And it's not that Kotaku's ever been that important, but it's given this sense of importance that came from its more aggressive days underneath the Gawker banner, when it was allowed to be more aggressive and allowed to attack people because they would just not care. Now they're in a position where they have no real choice. Like they have to absolutely care what they're doing. And they don't like that. They don't want there to be control or restriction. They don't want to see their jobs or their voices silenced based upon their political opinions. And in regards to that, I actually have sympathy because as doing YouTube, we have to capitulate our opinions to the wills of a company based upon an algorithmic bot. Well, it's not the same thing as evil private equity management team corporate overlords. It's a problem. I can't swear, lest I don't want to make any money. If I can't swear or talk about things I want to talk about because I will not be given the opportunity to earn that particular salary or those benefits. So I don't really, so I get why Schreier wants to save his ass, why he wants to save his job. I get that, why people there want to keep their job because they live in San Francisco. The cost is through the roof. Losing the job means they're going to have to move out of the city, or they're going to have to, God forbid, move to the ghetto of Oakland or perhaps Chino, because it's expensive to live in the city. And this is, again, part of the problem of having access media journalism, right? Games journalism, primarily based out of San Francisco. They have a base out of San Francisco, and the cost keeps going up. These people have rent, mortgages, bills, expenses. They want to hold on to their jobs, and I get that. And this is one of those moments where there's going to be a little bit of self-reflection. I don't like to cheer anyone losing their job, and I rarely ever do cheer anyone losing their job, but I don't feel bad about Kotaku. I don't feel bad one bit. I don't feel bad when anti-gamergaters who spent years demonizing us for wanting ethics in journalism, for wanting you to do your job like a journalist and to actually be objective and be fair, are now on that potential chopping block. I'm sorry, I don't have sympathy. And I don't think I ever will.